It has been more than 50 years since these four put out their last full album. But if you're a Beatlemaniac, you've probably been hearing rumors for years. One last song, one last fresh taste of that musical magic. The wait is almost over. A song called Now and Then drops tomorrow. The last new Beatles music ever. But if you can't wait that long, CBC has an exclusive broadcast for you today. It's a documentary about the making of this new song, and it airs today, this afternoon. You're not going to want to miss that one. It's Now and Then, the story behind Now and Then, and how AI made it possible. The premiere of the documentary is also part of other special programming with exclusive content, conversation around what is really a momentous Beatles release. And that's going to be hosted by my guest in my studio. Welcome back, Tom Power, host of Q. Hello.
Heather, thanks so much for being here. Congratulations on the new set.
We're back home.
I love this couch. This is a new couch. I didn't know we were on the new set. I thought we were on the old set where you only get shot from the waist up.
So that's why, hence the jeans?
That's why I look like I'm painting the fence from the waist down here, Heather. That's what's going on today.
Next time you'll know.
Yeah, next time I know. I'll gussy up the whole body from head to toe. I won't look like I'm about to go dig a few holes in the backyard from the bottom. But yeah, it's really exciting to be here.
Well, it's great, particularly to talk about this. We always turn to you when there is a momentous musical event, and this is certainly a big one. First thing I want to do together is watch the trailer. So give me 30 seconds, and let's take a look at this together, and you at home too, and we'll watch some new Beatles material.
I'm ready.
Okay.
When we lost John, we knew that it was really over.
I was talking to Yoko, and she said, I think I've got a tape of John.
Paul called me up and said he'd like to work on Now and Then. He put the bass on, I put the drums on.
It's the last song that my dad and Paul and George and Ringo will get to make together.
How lucky was I to have those men in my life?
Now and Then, the last Beatles song. So that was Paul's voice and that was Ringo's voice and Sean Ono Lennon. They're all talking about this song.
It's very, very exciting. I mean, when the Beatles anthology came out in the early 1990s, the world was really shook by the fact that there was new Beatles music, and two songs came out, Free as a Bird and Real Love. And I think for a lot of people, they thought that would be the last ever Beatles music, because it was so unlikely at the time that the technology in the early 90s would be able to take these home demos from John Lennon and add the Beatles to it through Jeff Lynne of Electric Light Orchestra. And they created two new Beatles hits. But you, like me, I'm sure thought, well, that gotta be it. That has to be everything. It's amazing what they've done, what you're gonna see in this documentary, where they were able to use AI. And I'm a real AI skeptic, especially around art. It was amazing to watch them use AI for good here and help create a new piece of music.
So when you say, just to be clear, so this is 1978, John Lennon doing demos in the Dakota building in New York.
That's
and
right.
There's one that was left over, Now and Then, that they just couldn't sort out.
The problem with it was that, and you'll see this in the documentary, the problem with it was that the technology didn't exist to separate John Lennon's piano playing from his vocal, and the vocal was muddied by the piano playing. So they couldn't get a clear shot of his vocal enough to put it, my understanding of it is part of the song. And they didn't have the technology for that in the 1990s when they tried to do it with the session as Free as a Bird and Real Love in the early 90s. They couldn't make it work.
Enter Peter Jackson, the great guru behind Lord of the Rings, but also, I mean, his film on They Shall Not Grow Old, about the First World War, what he's able to do in New Zealand with AI and this incredible audio and visual technology, separate it all, bring it all together, and then the surviving Beatles said, let's finish this, let's get it done.
Well, did you watch that Get Back documentary?
I did not, but that was really what got them interested, wasn't it?
It's really incredible. It's like Peter Jackson took this old footage of the Beatles in the late 1960s of them making their last album, what was going to become their last album, and he managed to use a lot of technology, and you can tell by the painter genes, I don't fully understand the technology, but he used a lot of technology, which I believe involved an abacus and a loom. He used a lot of technology to make those things come to life, to improve audio, improve video, and really do magic when it comes to that footage. Paul McCartney and the rest of the Beatles said, I wonder if we can use that same technology for this old song that we have. And he was able, and you're going to see this, to use technology to separate that piano from the vocal and be able to give them an isolated John Lennon vocal to play with as the Beatles.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
So that is what we're going to get, and it comes out tomorrow. As I mentioned, the song. Have you heard any of it, by the way? I can't play any of it today. We don't have it, but have you heard?
I heard a little bit
snips?
I heard a little bit in the documentary, and it's really beautiful. And I think Beatles fans at home might be thinking to themselves, okay, well, that's one Beatle, but of course, we lost George not that long ago, and obviously George couldn't play on this record. Because they did, you'll see this, because they did sessions in the early 90s, they were able to use some of George's original guitar parts. So you have all four Beatles, George Harrison included, playing on this track.
Fantastic.
Yeah, isn't that really exciting?
So the song Tomorrow, today the documentary, as I mentioned, CBC with the broadcast exclusive.
Pretty good, hey?
I know.
Not too bad.
12 minutes, it's the documentary short, but you're involved in some sort of bonus coverage because you've got a panel to talk about all of this, and you talked to a Beatles super fan as well. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, we have the host of Commotion, Elamine Abdelmahmoud,
Yes.
the show, one of the great shows on CBC Radio 1, and a show that does incredible work around panels around arts, discussion around the arts. He and I and Julie Nasrallah, who's on the host of Tempo on CBC Music, as I call it, the artist formerly known as CBC Radio 2. She's a trained opera singer, so she has a whole other musical perspective. And we sat down and we talked a little bit about what we just saw, and we talked about the documentary. But the coolest thing after that. We talked to it. I'm not gonna spoil it by saying who it is. We speak to an early. I'll say who it is. Whatever.
Because we're going to listen to a clip, so we have to know who we're listening to.
Let's spoil it.
Okay.
Trudy Metcalf, who is a Beatles super fan. From the early 1960s, she was the first ever president of the Beatles fan club in Canada.
No, back in '64?
Before they played on Ed Sullivan.
Even before
Yeah.
then?
So we talked a little bit to her about that happened, and she tells some really amazing
Well,
stories.
let's listen to a little bit of that.
John Lennon came in the first time and he said, "Are you the fan club? Are you from the fan club?" And I said, "Yes." And he got down on his knees and he bowed. And I thought, okay, Trudy, I've got 5 to 10 seconds to come up with the most breathtakingly witty comment so that would endear me to him forever. But I couldn't think of anything to say.
I love Trudy. That's going to be great.
And so it's not just an exciting bit of news around a new Beatles song, but it's also a celebration of the Beatles' importance to music and to Canadians in Canadian music.
So the documentary today, CBC has the broadcast exclusive, the song Tomorrow, a video to accompany it, comes out on Friday of this week. It's a lot of Beatles attention right now. And I'm just thinking, I mean, it's more than 50 years since they broke up.
Yeah.
You still get the sense that there's a buzz around this, that there's still a relevance of this band to music fans and to the scene?
It's really surprising, isn't it? You know, you look at bands of that era, a lot of them are sort of relegated to the dustbin of history, or they're talked a little bit about in sort of nostalgic terms. I had Billie Eilish on cue not that long ago, you know, Grammy Award winner, but also sort of a representative of Gen Z. And I asked her, which is a dangerous question, as you know, what music are you listening to right now? Because I'm 36 and I still think I'm young. And I said, what music are you listening to right now? And she said a bunch of artists I didn't even recognize them as names. She was like, oh, I really like Bleep Blorp, and I really like Orange Cushion Couch. You know what I mean? Like I didn't understand any of what she was talking about. I'm aware of the cultural arts show. But the point is, she said all these names, and then she went, and the Beatles. I really love the Beatles.
Really?
And you see that their influence seems to be able to go past all generations, the quality of the songwriting, how innovative they were. And to be able to hear that there's new music and we're going to get new music from the Beatles, I think it's not just people who remember them in '64, it's not just people who remember that anthology in the 90s, but really every musician is going to be excited about this.
Meanwhile, Paul McCartney is on stage tonight in Brisbane, Australia.
You're kidding me.
At 81.
Oh my God.
His Got
Have you
Back
seen him before?
tour. Yes, I have.
I haven't seen him. Is it great?
Got Back, yes,
Yeah,
he
is
is.
it all
Got
right?
Back is still going on.
Does he wear blue jeans on stage?
He would never do that. Anyway, listen, you come back, dress up next time.
You got
and
it.
We'll
how
see you
about
next
a tie?
time.
How about that? You know.
That'd be good.
But also, if you need anything done around the house, I can help you out.
Tom Bauer, we'll look forward. So it's 3:30 this afternoon. We'll tell you all about this. We'll look forward. It looks like it's going to be great.
I'm going to have a
Thanks
little
for
nap on the
coming.
couch. Thanks for having me, Heather. Appreciate it.
Now that we're here. Thank you. Now and Then, the last Beatles song is airing, as I said, in an exclusive Canadian broadcast, CBC Television, CBC Gem. It's at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And then anytime after 3:30, you can then stream it as you would like. And then it's going to run again tonight, 11:30 p.m. local.